Welcome to episode 13 of the Queen's Lariat podcast. I'm your host, AJ, and on today's episode, we're going to do another superstar spotlight, this time on Alexa Bliss. But before I get to that, please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and please follow me on Twitter at Queen's Lariat. So before I start my superstar spotlight, I want to talk about a couple of things that's happening in wrestling. The first thing I kind of want to discuss is Evolution 2, which is happening July 13th for WWE. And I want to talk a little bit about um, the Liv Morgan injury and how that's going to affect the card. So if you didn't see on I think last Monday on Raw, Liv Morgan injured her shoulder in a match against Kyrie in like a freak accident. But anyways, this affects not only Liv Morgan, who was on a phenomenal run the last like year and a half since she came back from her other injury, but she really was a cornerstone for not only the Raw Women's division, but for the women's division as a whole. And I wish nothing but good luck to her in her recovery. But her injury really had a domino effect on the card for Evolution, if you believe the rumors that are going around. She was going to be involved in a match with the Bella Twins. She also had something going on with Io and Kyrie. And she also had that storyline within the Judgment Day with Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez. So this leaves a lot of questions on the card to Evolution, and also how the women's division is going to be set going forward with Liv being out with injury. One positive that you can take from this is it's a good opportunity for them to really start pushing hard with the likes of Roxanne Perez and Stephanie Vacker. Also, you got a returning Asuka. So I'm hoping that the positive that can come out of this is that they really start pushing Roxanne and Stephanie in particular, because both of them are very, very good. And I have no doubt that they can handle the workload that Liv Morgan had. All right. The next thing I want to discuss is I know Stardom just had their pay-per-view, The Conversion. I have not watched it yet, and I will go more into it once I watch it. But a couple things that came out from there is the fact that Bozilla, who was previously in Marigold, has debuted and aligned herself with Suzuki's stable. I'm not going to pronounce the name. I don't want to mess it up. But she has aligned herself with them and has also challenged Azumi for the Strong Women's title, which I think is pretty cool. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing Bozilla in Stardom. If you have not watched her, I would suggest you go and watch some of her stuff from Marigold. But she's a solid wrestler, and she's really coming along with her in-ring work. But she's also a very, very good character, and I think she fits right along in that stable with Suzuki. Another thing I want to talk about that I've seen happen at the Conversion was Suri losing the IWGP title to Sarray. Now, I don't know what's going on with that title, and I'll give more of an in-depth opinion once I watch the match and see what happens. But I don't know about them taking that title off of Suri so soon. It kind of makes her look like a transitional champ, which you really don't want to book Suri that way. And it really has me kind of worried about the direction they're going with Suri. But like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. All right, with that done, let's get right into our superstar spotlight. So, Alexa Bliss debuted for WWE's developmental brand NXT on September the 20th of 2013. She is a 3-time Raw Women's Champion, which of course is now the Women's World Championship. She's a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion which is now the women's championship. She's a 3-time tag team champ, twice with Nikki Cross and once with Asuka. She is the 2018 Women's Money in the Bank winner. She's also a Triple Crown champion. And in 2018, she was ranked number 2 on the PWI's top 100 women's list. A couple of fun facts about Alexa Bliss is that she is married to singer Ryan Cabrera, who had the hit song, I think it was called On the Way Down. I don't know. I really liked that song though, back when I was like a teenager. And then they do have a daughter together. She also has competed on the Mask Singer. A couple of my takes, and usually I know I go over some of the matches I like from a wrestler, but instead of doing that, because I couldn't really like pinpoint a specific match that was kind of like focused on Alexa, as opposed to like saying like some of the matches I liked was the match she had against Bianca, which Bianca won, and Bianca's kind of focal point there. And then the match she had against Naomi, where Naomi won the SmackDown Women's Championship, or like the match they had at, I think, Extreme Rules against the Kabuki Warriors. But the first thing I want to talk, in my opinions, about Alexa Bliss is I feel like she is an underrated wrestler, one of the most overcriticized and underrated wrestlers. And I'm saying this because she has a very, very dedicated fan base. I'm not like a part of her fan base. I do like Alexa Bliss. She's like not one of my favorites or anything. But like I said, she has a very dedicated fan base. But outside of that, she does seem to take a lot of criticism for her in-ring work. But like I said, I think that's way overplayed. It's not like Alexa Bliss is a dangerous worker, unsafe, or a sloppy worker. The thing about Alexa Bliss that a lot of people don't understand is that she wrestles a very, very safe style. And that is something that we see a lot with people who are not like that, people that don't come from like an indie background or an international background. I would say it's kind of similar to like The Miz. Like, they were trained by WWE, and neither one is like particularly super athletic, and they wrestle very safe styles. But I think over the years, Alexa Bliss has become, she's become very good in the ring. And I'm not saying that like she's one of the best in-ring workers in the world or like a particularly great wrestler, but she can hold her own in the ring against a variety of opponents. And like I said, I just think people overhate on her because, like I said, she's not a bad person. She don't go behind people back and talk shit about them or anything. I think she's been one of the cornerstones of the women's division for a very long time, and you can actually put her in there and say she's a fifth horsewoman. And I know a lot of people like to say, "Oh, it's because she's blonde and this and that," but like I said, I just feel like Alexa Bliss doesn't really get, outside of her main core fan base, a lot of respect as a wrestler. And she's been doing it for a long time. And like, I really tend to enjoy Alexa Bliss. I think she's one of the best, promos in WWE and one of the best talkers in WWE. I also think her character work is very good. I know a lot of people didn't really like her work as Alexa Bliss, like as a fiend type character, but I liked it. Her and the Lily doll, I think she did a real good job at it. And now she's like at a point in her career where she's kind of that Alexa, but at the same time, she's going back to her old Alexa gimmick. That plus, I think she's a very good tag team wrestler too. Of course, her tag team with Nikki Cross was really good. But one thing people don't talk about a lot is her tag team with Asuka. I think that was a pretty solid tag team. And yes, they did have to figure out their chemistry, but once they got it started, they did pretty good. And they also won the women's tag team championship together. But yeah, like I said, I really think the hate for Alexa Bliss is overblown. Like I said, she is one of the greatest women's wrestlers of this generation. And you don't always have to count wrestling based strictly on in-ring skills. So that's just some of my thoughts on Alexa Bliss. And that's pretty much it for this episode. Once again, follow me on X at Queen's Lariat. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube. I'm out.